From Washington, D.C., this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Hena Zuberi. Our top story tonight. The situation in Gaza remains dire as casualties mount, with no one now counting the dead. Hospitals are overwhelmed and the injured have no place to seek medical attention. Health Ministry Director Medhat Abbas says it is not possible to provide an official death toll as the corpses lay in the streets, making it impossible to determine the exact number of casualties. The Palestinian Health Ministry has not issued any new numbers for the last 2 days. Al-Shifa Hospital has been forced to bury dead patients in a mass grave, with bodies scattered across the hospital complex and morgues, lacking electricity. Muslim legal groups have accused major law firms of contributing to Islamophobia and anti-Arab sentiment. They were responding to a joint statement of prominent U.S. law firms asking law schools to address rising anti-Semitism on campuses urgently. The American Muslim Bar Association, along with other Muslim legal organizations, expressed concerns about the firm's uneven treatment of sensitive issues. Joe Schenker, a senior chair of Sullivan and Cromwell, a key figure behind the message, expressed concern for Jewish students who felt threatened and betrayed on campuses. AMBA's letter noted that as educators at institutions of higher learning, it's imperative for them to provide students with the tools and guidance to engage in the free exchange of ideas. There also have been several incidents in which law students have had their job offers rescinded for signing onto public letters sympathizing with Palestinians. Thousands of Jews from all corners of the United States converged on the National Mall in Washington to support Israel. The March for Israel rally was organized by the Jewish Federation of North America and the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations. Participants from schools, synagogues, and community centers arrived in buses from numerous cities to join the cause. Many students received financial assistance to attend the rally. It featured prominent speakers, including Israel's President Isaac Herzog and the Israeli ambassador to the United States. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, the highest-ranking Jewish elected official in the country, attended the gathering. He was joined by Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, and Republican Senator Joni Ernst, showing unwavering support for Israel. Mike Johnson is the newly appointed Speaker of the House and a Republican from Louisiana. They spoke against calls for a ceasefire, deeming him outrageous. Controversial Christian evangelical pastor John Hagee, who previously expressed that an Israel-Palestinian peace deal could be the works of the Antichrist, addressed the crowd. Van Jones, a known television commentator, faced chants of no ceasefire, after he voiced a desire for peace. I'm a proponent of peace and I pray for it fervently. Let there be an end to the rockets from Gaza and the suffering of the people in Gaza due to bombings. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has called on Israel to put an end to the civilian casualties in Gaza. He said the killing of women, of children, of babies must stop. Trudeau described the situation in Gaza as heart-wrenching and emphasized the price of justice cannot be the continued suffering of all Palestinian civilians. He stressed that all innocent lives, both Israeli and Palestinians, are equal in worth. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu defended Israel's actions, asserting it is not Israel that should be held accountable. Trudeau's comments echoed those of French President Emmanuel Macron, who earlier criticized Israel's bombing of civilians in Gaza. Macron urged Israel to stop such actions and reiterated a call for a ceasefire in Gaza, which Israel has rejected. Netanyahu describes Macron's allegations as a, quote, serious mistake, factually and morally. Macron later called Israel's president, Isaac Herzog, stressing that he did not intend to accuse Israel of intentionally harming civilians in the campaign against Hamas. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said on Wednesday Israel was a, quote, terror state, committing war crimes and violating international law in Gaza, sharpening his repeated criticism of Israeli leaders and their backers in the West. Speaking 2 days before a planned visit to Germany to meet Chancellor Olaf Scholz, Erdogan said Israel's military campaign against Palestinian militant group Hamas included the most treacherous attacks in human history, with, quote, unlimited support from the West. He called for Israeli leaders to be tried for war crimes at the International Court of Justice in The Hague and repeated his view and Turkey's position that Hamas is not a terror organization but a political party that won past elections. Meanwhile, Israeli forces have surrounded Al-Shifa Hospital, Gaza's largest medical complex, where thousands of Palestinians have sought shelter. Qatari mediators are seeking a ceasefire deal and the release of hostages. Meanwhile, President of Spain, Pedro Sanchez, has demanded an immediate ceasefire. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas accused Israel of waging a war against Palestinian existence. Canadian-Israeli peace activist Vivian Silver is amongst the casualties in the recent Hamas-led attack on Israeli communities near the Gaza Strip. The 74-year-old former Bet Shalom board member initially was believed to be among the captives taken to Gaza. However, forensic teams have confirmed her remains were found in Beeri. Silver was a dedicated and influential peace activist known for her work with Palestinians in Gaza and the occupied West Bank. She founded Women Wage Peace, a women-led anti-occupation group, and co-founded the Arab Jewish Center for Equality, Empowerment, and Cooperation. She also served as the executive director of the Negev Institute for Strategies of Peace and Development, fostering collaboration between Jewish and Arab communities. Her contributions extended to the board of Bet Shalom, Israel's largest human rights organization. The assault on Beeri resulted in the loss of more than 100 lives. Israeli human rights group Bet Shalom expressed condolences and tributes online. George Washington University suspends pro-Palestine group. Details come after the break. Stay tuned and we will be right back. Welcome back. George Washington University has temporarily suspended the Palestinian rights group Students for Justice in Palestine. Last month, while protesting Israel's war on Palestine, the students group posted messages such as divestment from Zionist genocide now and, quote, free Palestine from the river to the sea at a campus library. It drew condemnation from politicians like Senator Mike Lee and Representative Jared Moskowitz. The university said these actions violated university policies, resulting in the immediate probation of SJP from participating on campus activities and using university facilities for 90 days. SJP is also barred from posting communications on university property until May 20th. The group claims its suspension is a political response to growing backlash against Palestinians. Meanwhile, Columbia University took a similar step, suspending its SJP chapter for the fall semester last week. Several documentary filmmakers have withdrawn from the International Documentary Film Festival in Amsterdam, protesting its stance over Israel's war on Palestine. Activists displayed a banner during the festival's opening night featuring the phrase, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free." That led to a statement from organizers disassociating the event from the slogan. In response, 12 filmmakers have announced their withdrawal from the festival in protest. Supporters of Israel continue to label the slogan as anti-Semitic. Denmark's parliament will discuss a crucial bill put forward by the coalition government aiming to prohibit Quran burning protests. The government asserts this legislation is essential to safeguard national security in the face of escalating Islamophobic demonstrations. The proposed bill would make it unlawful to treat a text with strong religious significance inappropriately in public. This arises against the backdrop of a series of Islamophobic protests orchestrated by far-right groups where copies of the Quran were burnt. These incidents triggered widespread outrage and condemnation throughout the Muslim world. Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen denounced the Quran burnings, characterizing them as deeply offensive and reckless acts committed by a few individuals who do not represent Danish society. Dexter Wade, who died after being struck by a police car in Jackson, Mississippi, earlier this year, is at the center of a new controversy. Without the knowledge of his family, authorities secretly exhumed his body. Family members were initially told the exhumation would take place around noon Monday, but they arrived to discover it had occurred in the morning, catching them off guard. Representing the family, civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump alleges that this clandestine act is part of an ongoing effort by police to conceal the circumstances of Wade's death. He criticized the lack of communications and transparency, saying no one sought the family's permission for the early morning exhumation. Bettersten Wade, Dexter's mother, only recently learned about her son's tragic death this summer, months after it occurred. The coroner's office identified Wade shortly after his passing, but failed to notify the family until August. Bettersten now plans to conduct an independent autopsy and hold a proper funeral for her son. The Reverend Al Sharpton will deliver the eulogy, and both Crump and Sharpton have called on the Department of Justice to investigate Wade's death amid concerns of a cover-up. The Fulton County District Attorney's Office in Georgia is blocking the dissemination of leaked videos featuring conversations with witnesses in former President Donald Trump's case. The videos of former Trump associates Sidney Powell, Jenna Ellis, Scott Hall, and Kenneth Chesebro are believed to be part of the plea deals in connection with Trump's racketeering indictment. They suggest Trump was determined not to leave the White House despite losing the 2020 election. Ellis claimed Trump's deputy White House Chief of Staff, Dan Scavino, conveyed Trump's unwillingness to leave even after election results were clear. The source of the leaked videos are reportedly ABC News and The Washington Post, both of which sought comments from Scavino's attorney. Trump's lead Georgia attorney, Steve Sadow, dismissed the videos as irrelevant. He emphasized that Trump did leave the White House on January 20, 2021. Fulton County Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee, overseeing Trump's indictment, has ordered the unsealing of court documents for the 4 co-defendants who made the plea deals. The records may include apology letters written by Powell, Chesebro, Hall, and Ellis. Trump is facing 91 felony court counts across 4 criminal cases in different states and could face imprisonment if convicted. An Oklahoma senator and a union boss squared off during a congressional hearing on Tuesday. Each dared the other to stand up and fight. Senate Labor Committee Chair Bernie Sanders struggled to contain the brawl. "Sit down," Sanders shouted at Mark Wayne Mullen, the Republican on the dais beside him. "You are a United States Senator." The fight ensued after Mullen called Sean O'Brien, president of the Teamsters Union, a thug. O'Brien said Mullen was acting like, quote, "a schoolyard bully," unquote. That's all from our Washington, D.C. studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Assalamu alaikum and good night.